The Dachshund wouldn't stop growling at him. When Marcus reached for his daughter's laundry basket, Benny lunged, teeth bared, protecting what everyone assumed was Emma's scent on her tiny clothes. The family laughed about their overprotective pet. They joked about the dog's obsession with the freshly washed clothes. One morning, Marcus collapsed in the hallway, his body hitting the floor with a sickening thud. His wife screamed, his daughter cried, and Benny stood over the laundry basket, still growling. What they discovered was so shocking it changed their understanding of what loyalty truly means. Before watching, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss another heart-gripping story like this one. Marcus Chen had always been healthy. At 34, he ran 3 times a week, ate reasonably well, and prided himself on being the kind of father who could keep up with his energetic 2-year-old daughter, Emma. His wife, Sarah, often teased him about his competitive streak with their friends' kids at the playground. He was the dad who could swing higher, run faster, stay longer. But Benny, their 5-year-old Dachshund, had started acting strange 3 months ago. It began innocuously enough. Marcus would load Emma's clothes into the washing machine, and Benny would appear from nowhere, nose twitching frantically at the pile. At first, Sarah found it endearing. "He's protecting her scent," she'd said one evening, watching Benny circle the laundry basket with unusual intensity. "Dogs do that with their favorite people." Marcus had laughed it off. "She's his baby too, I guess." But the behavior escalated. Benny began positioning himself between Marcus and Emma's laundry. When Marcus reached for the basket, the dog would growl, low and guttural, a sound Marcus had never heard from their normally docile pet. "Benny, move," Marcus would command, his patience thinning. The dog wouldn't budge. "Sarah, your dog is losing it," Marcus called out one Saturday morning, frustrated. "I can't even do laundry without getting attacked." Sarah appeared in the doorway. Emma balanced on her hip. "He's not attacking you, he's just being protective." "Of what? Clean clothes?" Marcus's voice carried an edge. "It's ridiculous." "Maybe he can smell Emma on them still," Sarah offered, though her tone suggested she didn't quite believe it either. "They're clean. That's the whole point of washing them." But Benny's obsession intensified. He began sleeping next to Emma's laundry basket. When Marcus approached, the dog's hackles would rise, his small body trembling with what looked like anxiety. Once, Marcus tried to physically move Benny aside, and the dog snapped at him, actually making contact with his hand. "That's it," Marcus had said, examining the small scratch. "Something's wrong with him. We need to take him to the vet." "He's never bitten anyone before," Sarah said, worry creasing her forehead. "Maybe he's sick." The vet found nothing wrong. Benny was healthy, his behavior attributed to possible territorial issues or anxiety. They were given suggestions about behavioral training and sent home with calming supplements. The supplements didn't help. Marcus started avoiding the laundry altogether, leaving it for Sarah to handle. It created tension neither of them acknowledged directly, but it was there, simmering beneath their daily routines. Marcus felt increasingly irritated by the dog's presence and guilty about that irritation. Benny had been Sarah's companion before they'd even met, inherited from her late father. The dog meant something to her that Marcus couldn't quite touch. "Maybe we should rehome him," Marcus suggested one night after Benny had blocked him from Emma's room, growling when Marcus tried to put away her folded clothes. Sarah's face went pale. "Rehome him? Marcus, he's family. He's aggressive. What if he goes after Emma next?" "He would never. You're being dramatic." "Am I?" "He drew blood, Sarah. A scratch. You startled him." The argument ended badly, with Marcus sleeping on the couch and Benny curled triumphantly beside Emma's laundry basket in the hallway. 2 weeks later, Marcus began feeling off. Nothing specific, just a general malaise he attributed to stress at work and the ongoing tension at home. He felt tired more often, occasionally dizzy. Once, he felt nauseous enough to skip his morning run. "You should see a doctor," Sarah said. "I'm fine. Just need more sleep." But the fatigue persisted. His skin looked pale, his appetite diminished. Still, he pushed through, convinced it was nothing a few good nights' rest wouldn't fix. Then came the morning that changed everything. Marcus woke early, before Sarah and Emma. He headed to the laundry room, determined to handle Emma's clothes himself. He was done letting a 15-pound dog dictate household chores. Benny appeared instantly, as if summoned by some invisible alarm. Not today, Marcus muttered, reaching for the basket. Benny growled, deeper than ever. Move. Marcus's voice was steel. The dog didn't move. Instead, he did something unprecedented. He grabbed Marcus's pant leg in his teeth and pulled, yanking with surprising strength for such a small animal. Benny, let go! Marcus tried to shake him off, but the room suddenly tilted. The walls blurred. His vision darkened at the edges. He heard Sarah scream his name from somewhere far away. Then, nothing. Marcus's body hit the floor hard, his head narrowly missing the corner of the washing machine. Benny released his pant leg and immediately began barking, high-pitched and frantic, a sound that brought Sarah running. Marcus! She dropped to her knees beside him, hands shaking as she checked for a pulse. Marcus, wake up! Oh God, wake up! Emma's crying echoed from her room. Benny continued barking, running between Marcus's unconscious form and the laundry basket, his small body vibrating with urgency. Sarah fumbled for her phone, dialing 911 with trembling fingers. My husband collapsed. He's breathing but won't wake up. Please send someone. The paramedics arrived within 7 minutes. They found Marcus regaining consciousness, lit, disoriented, and pale. His blood pressure was concerning, his pulse irregular. They loaded him onto a stretcher while Sarah gathered Emma and Benny, who refused to leave Marcus's side. At the hospital, doctors ran standard tests: blood work, EKG, CT scan. Everything came back relatively normal. Minor dehydration, slightly elevated blood pressure, but nothing that explained the collapse. Probably vasovagal syncope, the ER doctor suggested. Sometimes people faint from stress, dehydration, standing up too quickly. We'll keep you for observation, but you should be fine. Marcus stayed overnight. Sarah sat beside his bed, Emma asleep in her arms, while Benny lay at Marcus's feet, refusing to move even when nurses tried to shoo him away. Hospital policy technically prohibited dogs, but something about Benny's intensity made the staff relent. He hasn't left your side, Sarah whispered. Not once. Marcus looked at the dog, really looked at him. Benny's eyes were fixed on Marcus's face with an expression that seemed almost human in its concern. I don't understand, Marcus said quietly. Why does he hate me? I don't think he hates you, Sarah replied. I think he's trying to tell us something. The next morning, a different doctor entered the room. Dr. Patricia Okonkwo was a nephrologist who'd heard about Marcus's case from a colleague over coffee. Something about the story had nagged at her, particularly the detail about the dog's behavior. Mr. Chen, I know this might sound unusual, but I'd like to run some additional tests, she said. Specifically, an advanced kidney panel and some metabolic markers we don't typically check in routine blood work. My kidneys? Marcus frowned. The other doctor said everything was fine. Standard panels can miss early-stage kidney disease, especially rare presentations. I'm interested in your dog's behavior. There's documented evidence of dogs detecting diseases through scent, including kidney failure. The fact that he's been fixated on your daughter's laundry, which you presumably handled, suggests he might be detecting something in your sweat. Sarah sat up straighter. You think Benny was smelling Marcus's sweat on Emma's clothes? It's possible. Even clean clothes retain trace amounts of bodily fluids, especially if the person doing the laundry handles them frequently. If Mr. Chen has been experiencing metabolic changes, his sweat composition would change. Dogs can detect that. The tests took 2 days. Marcus remained in the hospital, subjected to blood draws, urine samples, and imaging he didn't fully understand. Benny remained his constant companion, permitted to stay after Dr. Oko intervened personally. When the results came back, Dr. Okonkwo's face was grave. Mr. Chen, you have IgA nephropathy, a rare autoimmune kidney disease. It's in early stages, but progressing. Without treatment, you would have faced kidney failure within months, possibly weeks. The disease is asymptomatic in many patients until it reaches critical stages. The room went silent, except for Emma's babbling as she played with her toys on the floor. I don't understand, Marcus finally said. I felt fine. Tired, but fine. That's the insidious nature of this disease. Your body was compensating until it couldn't anymore. The fainting episode was your kidneys beginning to fail at filtering toxins effectively. If it hadn't been for your dog's behavior prompting this investigation, we wouldn't have caught it until you were in acute kidney failure. Sarah's hand flew to her mouth. Oh my God, Dr. Okonkwo continued. Your dog was detecting elevated levels of urea and other metabolic waste products in your sweat. These compounds have distinct odors imperceptible to humans, but obvious to canines. He wasn't protecting your daughter's scent. He was trying to alert you to your own. Marcus looked down at Benny, who had moved closer, resting his chin on Marcus's leg. The dog's brown eyes held that same intense expression, but Marcus understood it differently now. Not aggression. Fear. Worry. "He was trying to tell me I was sick," Marcus whispered. "Animals have instincts we're only beginning to understand," Dr. Okonkwo said. "Your dog likely sensed something was wrong weeks before you felt any symptoms. His behavior escalated as your condition worsened. And I wanted to rehome him," Marcus said, his voice breaking. "I thought he was aggressive. I thought he hated me." Sarah squeezed his hand. "You didn't know." Treatment began immediately. Immunosuppressants, blood pressure medications, dietary changes. The prognosis was cautiously optimistic. Dr. Okonkwo explained that catching the disease this early meant Marcus had an excellent chance of preserving his kidney function and avoiding dialysis or transplant. "If we'd found this 6 months from now, we'd be having a very different conversation," she said. "Your dog saved your life." 3 days later, Marcus came home. Emma squealed with delight, running to him on unsteady toddler legs. Sarah hovered anxiously, making sure he didn't overexert himself. And Benny, for the first time in months, seemed calm. That evening, after Emma was asleep, Marcus sat on the floor beside the laundry basket. Benny approached cautiously, as if uncertain of his reception. "Come here, boy," Marcus said softly. Benny came, settling against Marcus's side. Marcus stroked the dog's long back, feeling the warmth of him, the steady rise and fall of his breathing. "I'm sorry," Marcus whispered. "I'm so sorry I didn't understand. You were trying to help me, and I was too stubborn to listen." Sarah sat down beside them, her hand joining Marcus's on Benny's fur. "He knew," she said. "Somehow, he knew." "My dad always said Benny was special," Sarah continued, her voice thick with emotion. "I didn't realize how special until now." Marcus pulled Benny closer, the dog's small body warm against his chest. "I owe you everything," he murmured into the dog's fur. From that day forward, Benny's behavior returned to normal. He no longer guarded the laundry or growled at Marcus. It was as if, knowing Marcus was receiving treatment, the dog's mission was complete. Marcus began including Benny in everything, taking him on gentle walks as his strength returned, letting him sleep at the foot of their bed, involving him in Emma's playtime. The story spread among their friends and family. Their neighbor, who'd witnessed some of Benny's aggressive episodes, apologized for suggesting they get rid of him. Marcus's mother cried when she heard how close they'd come to losing him. Dr. Okonkwo asked permission to present the case at a medical conference, highlighting the potential for canine disease detection. Sometimes the line between life and loss is guarded not by those we expect, but by those we misunderstand. What we dismiss as madness often masks a wisdom we lack the senses to perceive. Benny couldn't speak Marcus's language, couldn't explain what his nose detected in trace molecules of sweat, but instinct spoke louder than words, persistence louder than reason. In the end, what seemed like aggression was the purest form of love, a devotion that refused to be ignored even when faced with rejection. If this story shook you, opened your eyes to the extraordinary capabilities of the animals we share our lives with, don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more powerful stories. Share it with friends and family, because sometimes the smallest guardian carries the biggest warning, and the voices we need most are the ones that never speak at all.